Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into it with two of the absolute latest foldable phones. We're talking the Honor Magic V5 versus the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, a proper showdown.
Yeah, and our mission really is to cut through all the noise, the specs, the marketing. We want to figure out what it's actually like to live with these phones day in, day out.
Exactly.
So imagine you're stood there thinking, which one should I get? I mean, to be your guides, we'll explore how they handle everyday stuff. Like, does it even fit in your pocket comfortably? Does the battery last through your busy day?
That's the key, isn't it? The practical stuff. What
Yeah.
really matters for you. We're kind of imagining, like, the lady carrying the Honor maybe slips it in her purse or pocket easily. And the gentleman with the Samsung maybe appreciates that super solid, refined feel. We'll see how those experiences compare in the real world. Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack this then. First impressions count, right? So let's talk about how they feel. That first moment you pick them up. The pocket test, so the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. You pick it up, and immediately, it feels premium. Really smooth, kind of glassy, definitely solid.
Refined is the word, I think.
Yeah, refined. It's got that weight, 215 grams, and it's, 8.9 millimeters thick. It feels sturdy, like Samsung's really honed this design over the years. You feel like you're holding something substantial.
Right. And then you pick up the Honor Magic V5, and it's kind of startling, actually.
How so?
It's just so incredibly thin and light for a foldable. We're talking 8.8 millimeters, maybe even a hair thinner, depending on the finish, and 217 grams. So technically a tiny bit heavier, but it feels lighter because of the thinness. It's
okay.
like Honor's basically saying, look, foldables don't have to be bricks anymore. You slip it into your jeans pocket, your jacket, and it just disappears. No awkward bulge, no pulling down your clothes. It's genuinely impressive pocketability, feather light almost.
Wow. Okay, so if just carrying it around comfortably all day is top of your list,
Yeah.
that sounds like a big win for Honor right out of the gate. Like
Yeah.
your pockets will...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely a game changer for daily comfort. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk screens.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to spend most of your time, right? Looking at these things.
Uh-huh.
Are they, a joy to use, or are there frustrations? Both have these amazing inner displays when you unfold them. Samsung's got that bright 8-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X. Honor has a really stunning 7.95-inch LTPO OLED, so pretty similar sizes inside.
Yeah, and honestly, for browsing, multitasking, watching videos, they're both fantastic indoors. Big, beautiful canvases.
But what about, like, daily use, brightness?
Yeah.
Using them on the go.
Well, this is where it gets a bit nuanced. Samsung probably edges it slightly on just raw overall brightness outdoors. They quote 2600 nits peak. That means it's going to be really clear even in bright sunlight. Honor talks about a massive 5000 nits peak, which sounds amazing, but that's likely for like tiny parts of the screen in very specific HDR moments. For just general outdoor viewing, Samsung might be a bit more consistently bright across the whole display.
Gotcha. And the outer screens, when it's folded.
This is interesting, too. Honor's outer screen is 6.43 inches. It feels familiar, comfortable, like a normal phone. Great for quick texts, scrolling social media with one hand while you're, say, on the subway.
Right, easy one-handed use.
Exactly. Samsung's outer screen is bigger, 6.5 inches. It feels roomy, which is nice if you want to do more on it without unfolding, but maybe not quite as quick and easy for those super fast one-handed moments as the slightly narrower Honor.
So kind of depends on how you use that outer screen most often.
Pretty much. Samsung for brightness and maybe more involved tasks folded. Honor for that comfy, quick use feel. It's kind of a tie for daily practicality, depending on your specific needs.
All right, let's shift to cameras. Capturing those moments. Is one clearly better than the other for your everyday photos? Samsung, they really went big this year, didn't they? That 200 megapixel main sensor on the Z Fold 7.
Huge number.
Yeah. And the photos apparently are super vibrant, loads of detail. If you're someone who really cares about getting like pro-level shots for Instagram or just for keepsakes, Samsung's positioning this as a real powerhouse.
Definitely targeting the photo enthusiasts, and they back it up with a solid 12 megapixel ultra-wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto, 3x optical zoom with OIS.
OIS, optical image stabilization.
Yeah.
That's important, right, for keeping shots steady.
Crucial, yeah. Especially when you zoom in or in lower light. Helps avoid blur.
Okay, so what about the Honor Magic V5? How does it stack up?
Honor's approach is maybe more balanced, practical perhaps. They've got a 50 megapixel main sensor, also with OIS, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, which is a nice high resolution for an ultra wide, and then a really capable 64 megapixel periscope telephoto.
64. Wow.
Yeah, also 3x optical zoom with OIS, but that higher megapixel count helps with digital zoom too, up to 100x if you really need it. It's maybe less about one giant number and more about having strong performance across the board. Great versatility for everyday stuff like zooming in at a concert or a kid's sports game.
And what about video calls, selfies, that inner camera?
Ah, good point. Samsung made a change on the Fold 7. The under-display camera on the inside screen is now a visible hole punch.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, the old under-display ones were kind of murky. This new one is way more usable, clearer for video calls, which people actually do on these big screens. Honor, on the other hand, gives you two proper selfie cameras, 20 megapixels each, one on the outer screen, one on the inner. So great quality, whichever way you're using it.
Okay, so Samsung pushes hard on that main sensor detail, maybe better for serious photographers. Honor offers great versatility, especially with zoom and selfies. For overall camera package, tough call, but maybe Samsung just edges it for those who want the absolute highest detail from the main camera.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Depends on your priorities again.
Right. Okay, performance and battery. This is huge for daily use. You need your phone to keep up, and you really don't want it dying halfway through the day. Now, both phones are running the same chip, right? The Snapdragon 8 Elite.
Yep, the top-tier Snapdragon built on that new 3-nanometer process.
And that 3-nanometer thing, it's not just marketing speak.
No, it actually matters. It means the chip is more powerful and more power efficient. So less heat, better battery life for the performance you get. Both these phones are going to feel incredibly fast. Emails, editing documents, video calls, even heavy gaming. Smooth sailing on both.
Okay, so performance is likely great on either, but the battery? I have a feeling this is where they differ.
Oh, they differ all right, big time. Honor has put a massive 5,820 milliamp hour battery in the Magic V5.
Wow, nearly 6,000. How did they fit that on such a thin phone?
That's partly down to their new silicon carbon battery tech. It basically packs more energy into the same space. It's a pretty significant innovation.
Compared to Samsung.
Samsung's got a respectable 4,400 milliamp hour battery in the Fold 7. It's decent, and some reviews say it'll get you through a day, but it's just way smaller than the Honor's.
So what does that mean practically?
It means if you're a heavy user, lots of multitasking, streaming video gaming, the Honor's just going to last longer, way longer. You get that peace of mind, you're not going to be desperately searching for a charger by late afternoon. Samsung will likely need a top-up sooner if you push it hard.
Okay, that sounds pretty clear-cut. For battery life, Honor seems to be the undisputed champ here. Freedom from the charger anxiety.
Absolutely. It's a major selling point for the V5.
All right, let's talk productivity. Using these things for work, juggling tasks, how do they stack up in the real world? Samsung's One UI software, now version 8, based on Android 16? It's pretty mature, right? They've been refining the foldable experience for years.
Definitely. And they're leaning heavily into AI this year. Galaxy AI features like Gemini Live, Circle to Search, lots of little enhancements designed to make multitasking, managing emails, calendars, video calls feel really smooth and intuitive.
Makes sense. But did they remove something important? The S Pen.
They did, yeah. No S Pen support in the Fold 7. That was a trade-off. Allowed them to make the phone thinner, maybe improve durability around the hinge area. Some people will miss it, for sure. But others maybe didn't use it much or didn't like the bulky cases needed to store it.
Interesting trade-off. How about the Honor for productivity?
The Magic V5 also handles multitasking very smoothly. The hardware is definitely capable. The question mark really is the software polish outside of China. Magic OS is good, but its track record for international updates and long-term consistency isn't as hard-proven as Samsung's One UI.
So the hardware's great, but the software experience might be less predictable globally.
Potentially, yeah. Although it's worth noting, both phones are getting Google's Gemini AI features globally, so you'll have powerful AI on both. But for that overall deeply integrated, feature-rich productivity suite that Samsung offers, they probably still have the edge, even without the S Pen this time.
Right. Samsung's still kind of the productivity king, you'd say.
For now, yeah. Especially if you value that mature software ecosystem.
Okay, durability. These are expensive devices. You don't want them breaking easily. How tough are they for everyday bumps and scrapes? Both seem pretty well protected, generally speaking.
They do, but there are differences when you dig into the specs. Samsung gives you IP48 rating. That means good dust resistance, and it can handle splashes or maybe light rain. And it uses strong Gorilla Glass ceramic, too.
Okay, IP48, what about Honor?
Honor actually steps it up quite a bit. They're claiming IP58 or even IP59 on some models.
IP5859, what's the difference?
So the 5-foot means even better dust protection, practically dust-tight. And the 8 or 9 means stronger water resistance. IP by 8 usually means submersion up to a certain depth, while IP by 9 can handle high-pressure water jets. So basically, significantly better protection against both dust and water.
Wow, that's quite a jump.
Yeah, and they also talk a lot about their hinge engineering, claiming it's 50% sturdier, built with incredible precision, like 0.003 millimeters tolerance. Plus, that white model uses aerospace fiber materials for extra strength, so accidental spills, getting caught in heavier rain, dusty environments, you'd likely feel a bit more confident with the Honor.
So for sheer ruggedness and peace of mind against the elements, Honor takes the win here. Ready for the unexpected.
Looks that way, based on the ratings and materials, yes.
Okay, last big practical point before the verdict, cost and availability. What's the damage to your wallet going to be? We know these aren't cheap. Samsung's launching the Fold 7 at what, $1,999?
Yep, right around that $2,000 mark, premium territory.
And the Honor Magic V5.
Expected to be similarly premium, probably landing somewhere around $1,800 or maybe a bit more when it launches globally. So potentially a little cheaper, but still very expensive.
So maybe a slight price advantage for Honor, but what else factors in here?
Availability and support are huge. With a Samsung, you know you can walk into a store pretty much anywhere, buy it, get accessories, get support if something goes wrong. They have that established global network.
Right, that peace of mind factor.
Exactly. With Honor, especially outside of China, the global launch details can sometimes be a bit uncertain. When exactly will it be available? How robust is the customer support network in your region? How consistent will software updates be? These are questions that Samsung users generally don't have to worry about as much.
So even if Honor is slightly cheaper, Samsung might be seen as the safer bet, the more practical purchase overall because of that established presence.
For many people, yes, that reliability and ease of access count for a lot when you're spending this much money. So Samsung probably wins on practical value in that sense.
Okay, this brings us to the big moment, the final verdict. We've looked at feel, screens, cameras, performance, battery productivity, durability, cost. So which one should you actually carry?
It really boils down to what you prioritize most in your daily life, doesn't it? If you're that person, maybe the lady we imagined earlier, who values carrying something incredibly slim and light, something that doesn't weigh down your pocket or purse, and you absolutely need battery life that goes on, plus that extra reassurance of top-tier water and dust resistance, then the Honor Magic V5 is seriously compelling. It really is magic in pocketability.
Okay, so Honor for ultimate portability, battery, and ruggedness.
Right. But if you're more like the gentleman we pictured, maybe someone who wants the absolute best, most detailed photos from that main camera.
Yeah, the photo enthusiast.
And you really value a super polished, feature-rich software experience with all the latest AI tricks baked in, plus the certainty of buying it easily and getting support anywhere. Then the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 is probably the one. It's that strength and everyday reliability.
So it really is about matching the phone strengths to your personal everyday needs. There's no single best for everyone.
Precisely.
But either way you go, it sounds like you're getting an incredible piece of technology, one of the best foldable experiences you can get in 2025.
No doubt about it. The innovation here is just fantastic.
It really is amazing to see how far foldables have come. Just a few years ago, these seemed like fragile concepts, and now, look at them.
Absolutely. Which leads to kind of a provocative thought, maybe, for you to mull over.
Ooh, go on.
With these phones getting so thin, so capable, so much more durable, is the line between a normal slab phone and a foldable starting to blur?
Interesting question.
Yeah, like maybe in a couple more years, the choice won't even be about the folding part so much. It'll just be about which specific package of features, the camera system, the battery tech, the software focus, best enables your ideal daily experience. What trade-offs are you willing to make for convenience versus power? And what becomes non-negotiable in the phone you rely on every single day?
That's a great point. Will form factor become less important than the actual features inside? Something definitely to think about.